All right, guys, just got done weighing the tomatoes, and today is a big tomato processing day. I'm gonna bring you guys with me on this journey, and I think I did separate videos on both last year, but I'm just trying to approach it differently this year with respect to making my herbed seasoned tomato sauces, which is my Mexican tomato sauce and my Cajun tomato sauce and my spaghetti sauce. So I'm going to see if I can't just approach it differently. And we're adding a new ingredient to our sauce today, and I thought I'd share it with you guys. So I'm going to be referencing probably 2 different recipes throughout the process, but maybe it'll give you some ideas on ways that you can make your processing go just a little bit more efficiently, and then also extending your harvest. So let's get going. Okay, so I have right at 27-ish pounds of tomatoes that have been frozen that I thawed in this kitchen sink overnight, and probably another 15 pounds of fresh tomatoes back there that I'll wash up and add to this. But I thought I'd take the opportunity while I'm doing these to show you guys why I freeze my tomatoes. And it's no joke when I say how easy it is to slip the skins. So let me bring you guys down, show you. They kind of just, the tomatoes punch out of the skins. And so think about it, right? You are, where did I do with my compost bowl? Do you guys see it? Oh, it's right here. I put it in the wrong jar. So think about this, guys, when you're, if you have space, I guess I would say, you know, and all your tomatoes aren't coming in all at once, and you have space in your freezer. I'm not having to run 2 different pots on my stove, a cooling pot and a blanching pot to break the skins. They literally, all I do is wash them and take the stems off. Look. And the tomato skins tomatoes literally just slide right out of the skins after being frozen. It's a beautiful thing. And then I just come through and cut the tops off. Core them as necessary. So some of these still aren't quite thawed out. They're still kind of frozen. So that's cool, because I'll get to show you what I do in that case, because not always do I remember. Rachel, set out your tomatoes before you're going to process them. So in the case where some of them are still frozen, I'll show you what I do. So that's a good example where there was some scarring on the tomato, and I just slip it out and cut that away. So let me get all the ones that are thawed slipped and put into my roaster, and then I'll bring you back for the ones that aren't thawed and show you what I do. Okay, that is about all I'm gonna fit that are thawed. Not fit, but that's all that actually got thawed overnight. Crazy. So what I do is I just throw oh, there's one. The ones that aren't thawed right in my roaster. And then I just walk in here and check them from time to time, and as they're thawing, I come in and slip the skins and cut the cores out. I don't know, for me, just handling these tomatoes goes a lot faster, just doing one-step process right into the pot than having a bunch of pots on the stove and blanching and then cooling, and it's just a little faster for me. Last year we dehydrated our skins for the first time ever and found that We actually used it quite a bit, so we'll be doing that again this year. We're almost out. All right, my last bag of frozen tomatoes is going in. And I've been able to slip a few more skins, ones that were at the bottom of the bag. So what I'm going to do next is wash up some of my fresh tomatoes, and I'll just throw them same in the pot for when as I have room. And as those skins burst, I can come in here and slip them the same. So it's kind of just, I guess, an idea for you guys to do a one-stop tomato peeling. You don't have to get all those pots and pans out and do that oven or, boiling shock. You have the option of freezing your tomatoes for a quick skin slip, or just putting them in your roaster, and as the skins burst, slip them. And then you don't have to deal with more dishes, because anyone knows that when you're canning, you're making a big enough mess as it is. You don't need more dishes to deal with at the end of the day. And that's kind of one of the things I love about using my roaster, is otherwise I'd have probably 3 or 4 pots going on the stove. And I think actually one of these, probably this year, I'm going to ask for another roaster for Christmas, because I could definitely at times have 2 roasters going. I've got that much processing in a day. Alrighty guys, my roaster is full to the brim. I can't fit any more. I probably have about a little less than 5 pounds of tomatoes left in my box that I may add as these cook down. It just depends how it goes, because I still have to come back and add about, I would say 7 cups of onions and around 2 cups of bell peppers to this after I saute them. So I don't want to get myself to a situation where I can't add my next ingredients. So while this is cooking down, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to talk through how I'm going to be processing. Oh my gosh, I forgot. Guys, the secret ingredient of today is my leftover zucchini. So this has been sitting in some salt water. I need to rinse and drain this, and I need to fit this in here. This is probably 1, 2, 3, 4, a little over 4 cups of onions, or of zucchini. I think I'll tell you what I wish. I wish I could make my spaghetti sauces like I did my salsa, and that 2/3 of the mixture was zucchini and 1/3 of the mixture was tomatoes, because zucchini will take on whatever flavor you cook it with. And I think it's a great idea to extend my tomato sauces. But I used most of this for my pineapple zucchini yesterday. So we are going to mix this. When I puree it, you're never even going to know zucchini was in here. Let me get this rinsed. I don't have room to add it now, but as it cooks down, I'll add it. Oh, I'm just going to see if I can make it work. Ooh, I'm probably going to get a little overflowy for a minute. Okay, so now we're going to chat about how I'm going to make a base today and make 4 different things. No, 3 different things. So I've got my spaghetti sauce recipe. I'm bouncing that off the Ball book, and this is the Ball Complete Book of Home Preserving, page 358, if you have that book. Herbed seasoned tomatoes. I did these last year, and I did it separately from processing my spaghetti sauce. And I thought, as I was prepping for today, how can I do it all together? There's probably what I'm going to do is, actually what I know I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and saute down my onions, bell pepper, and garlic. So the spice blends and the herb seasoned tomatoes all call for garlic, and 2 of them call for onion. So I will, actually all of them I think call for onion. So my spaghetti sauce calls for onion, the Mexican spice blend calls for onion, and the Cajun spice blend calls for onion. Now they call for onion flakes, but I'll have sauteed onion, so it's going to be the same. They all call for garlic too, so I'm going to just saute this up together as if I was making my spaghetti sauce and put that in my base. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to individually mix the individual seasonings in bulk for my Mexican spice blend and my Cajun spice blend. And sorry, my all the herbs that go with my spaghetti sauce, which if you follow just the ball book and don't follow my spaghetti sauce, it has an Italian spice blend in there. Then you take, I think it's 2 teaspoons, 2 1/4 teaspoons, I think, per, what does it say, per pint. If you're jarring up in pints, I'm going to be jarring up in quarts, so I will use 4 1/2 teaspoons of my spice blends per container. And I think that's going to be good. I'll also be adding my tomato paste like I always do, just so I don't have to cook down my tomatoes quite as much. And there's one funny thing I have to do today. These are all the cayenne peppers I grew last year, and I need to make some cayenne powder because I'm all out. That's going to be interesting. I actually might ask Todd to do that for me outside so I don't kill myself. So I don't know how much, just to let you know how much I'm going to go into details of making the spice blends. I think that's going to be really time consuming. If you're interested in the recipe, I'll make sure to note it. There's not going to be a link that you can click on because it's coming out of a book. I'll also put a link and maybe an iCard to my spaghetti sauce video that I did last year. I've already done 1 round of that, so this is going to be another round, as well as the Mexican and Cajun spices. So we'll see if we can't get probably 6 quarts of each today. And yeah, we'll see where we land. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm going to go ahead and start sauteing these up. And I won't add these till the tomatoes are all peeled. Once the tomatoes are all peeled, that base will go in there along with the tomato paste. And my spaghetti sauce calls for things like, I always add a couple tablespoons of brown sugar. It just kicks that acidic flavor down. Worcestershire sauce, which will be fine in my other bases, and liquid aminos. So those are just some things that I will also be adding that come out of my spaghetti sauce recipe. So that's kind of the plan. So I also wanted to encourage you to think about this too. I was flipping through other things I want to make this year, and one of those being stewed tomatoes. So once I cooked these down and added that to my tomato base, I could already jar off some of that for stewed tomatoes. So there's lots of ways where you can just get a good base recipe going and just build from there in one batch of canning and cooking. So I will see you guys later at some point in the day and catch you up with where I am. Hey Todd, while you're in here, I have a task if you want to help.
What would that be?
Something I'm really scared to do. I need you to take these and make cayenne powder for me.
Like in the little ninja thing?
I was thinking use my coffee grinder. I don't think the ninja thing it doesn't work to get it powdered enough.
I'll work on it.
All right. You've been fussing too that we're out of cayenne powder.
Is this what like made your hands burn for like 2 days?
No, that was chilies, not these. But I think you need to wear goggles and a mask when you do it.
Okay.
I mean, that's the warning. Like, because when you lift that off, it's all going to be like powder that will. And he's much safer about things than I am. You know, another thing that I'm super excited about is this is the first year I've never had to buy bell peppers for my preserving. I'm growing so many bell peppers this year that we're able to chop them as they come in and bag them up and freeze them, and I always have bell peppers on hand when I need them. It's so exciting. I'm so glad that I added that to my staples garden this year because it's definitely a staple that we use in this house. And one more thing, self-sufficiency.
Peppers are done. Didn't get me so far. So we had a jar like this. 2 minutes in the Vitamix. Turned it into powder.
Well, I am out of room and I do want to go ahead and finish all those tomatoes off today. So I'm actually, what I did was part off half, maybe a little less than half of the onions and green peppers I left in the pot. The rest are waiting to be added to the roaster. So now I need to scoop a good amount of this out and put it in my pot. So let's see if Rachel can do that. I've just, like I said, been just working these tomato skins as they rupture. And what else have I done since I last, oh geez. Since I last talked to you guys, I got the salt added, the sugar added, and something else. Oh, the liquid aminos and Worcestershire sauce has been added. Okay, that's about all I'm gonna fit, but that makes room now that I can get my green peppers and onions added in here and the last of the tomatoes. Another good story for you. I used to think that you had to use all good like sauce tomatoes for making sauce. So I would, if I didn't have enough Roma tomatoes, I would go and buy more Roma or plum style tomatoes at the farmer's market. And last year was the first year, I've mentioned this several times, I grew enough of my own tomatoes to do everything I needed. Salsa, spaghetti sauce, everything. And I was able to do that because I used everything that I had. Slicer tomatoes like these. My Romas are Amish paste, whatever I grew, and all my cherry tomatoes. And I found that just the awesome variety of everything makes for just a really deep, rich, robust flavor. It's not bland, it's not overly acidic. The sweet of the cherry with the acidic of the slicers, the meatiness of the paste tomatoes, it all works out really, really well. So don't be shy to use everything that you have on hand to really extend everything. And you get beautiful colors out of it too. So I think what my other tip to you, so I've shared lots of tips today on just how I manage processing all my tomatoes without going through a lot of extra steps. And then the last tip that I will share with you, and I shared this in last year's video, is don't feel like you've got to strain. Of course you can if you want to, but I don't. Don't feel like you've got to food mill your tomatoes, strain off the water content out of them. I will show you what my tip to you is. Invest in some tomato paste. That's your one investment outside of your homestead. I buy these in cases. And then to my 18 quart roaster, I'll add 6 tomato paste to that as soon as I get all my skins off and everything. And then I puree it up, and it takes like no time till it's the right sauce consistency, instead of cooking down, and ultimately wasting off a lot of your good tomato juice. So just use a thickener like tomato paste, and it will really extend your harvest. Another thing I wish I had, like I said, was if I had more zucchini, I could really make this go far. Because what I'll do is, after all of this is cooked down, and I will blend it all up with my stick blender, my immersion blender, and you will never see zucchini that had been added to it. You wouldn't know. Zucchini is a very neutral food that is going to take on the flavor of whatever you cook it with, seasonings that you add to it. So, oh, let me show you what else I did. I got my seasonings made. So here is my Italian herb seasoning, Cajun seasoning, and Mexican seasoning. So to a quart, I will add, what did I say, like what did it say? For each pint, use 2 1/4 teaspoons. That's for the Italian. For the Mexican, it says 2 1/2. For the Cajun, it says 2. So I'll just double that, because I'm going to do all this in quart jars. And if I have anything left, I'll just jar it up, and we'll have ready to go seasoning mix for cooking. So I got my pot behind me there. It's not really an extra dirty dish, because I had to saute the onions and green peppers in it anyway. So might as well take advantage of the extra room. So probably the next time you guys will see me back will be when I add the tomato paste and I immersion blend everything. All right, guys, we are about ready to wrap this up. I did add the tomato paste, forgot to turn on the camera. So to the quart pot, I added two or three cans, I can't remember. And I added 6 cans to my big roaster. And then I put bay leaves in there, and it's been simmering for about an hour. All the skins are off, all that good stuff. So I'm just gonna take my immersion blender, blend all this yumminess together. Then we'll head over to the roaster, do that one. I'll see where it is. If I think I need to cook it down a little bit more, I will. If not, we'll get to jarring it up. Looks like good sauce. Nice. Can usually tell if my sauce is ready if I can draw on top of it and no water pools. That's kind of like my check, and I'm able to draw and leave little lines. No water's pooling on top. This pot's ready. Okay, this one can stand to cook down just a little bit more. Not too much though. So while this one is going, we will get the other pot jarred up, and I can at least close out this video and show you the process of adding the herbs to your jars if you want to do this process. So you can get multiple things going at one time. All right, we're ready to jar up. So no different than any other tomato sauce, following Ball's guidelines. 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, or you could use citric acid. It's just a different measurement if you're using citric acid. So I'm adding 2 tablespoons to each jar. Now the fun part. Let's add, let's see, Cajun, Italian, Mexican. So we'll do 2 of each. So for the, what was this one again? Mexican, we're going to do 2 teaspoons per pint. So we're going to do 4 teaspoons per quart. For the Italian, it was 4.5. And for the Cajun, we'll go with 3. That, and then we just ladle it in. 1/2 inch of headspace. Since I'm doing 3 different varieties, I'm going to write on the jar lids before I put them in the canner what they are. So this one is Mexican. And I'm sure I'm going to get asked, so I might as well tell you now. How do I use Mexican tomatoes? They're mostly my chili base. So when I make chili, this is my base tomato sauce for making chili. And for these Cajun tomatoes, you can, like I like to just do a quick shrimp pot or chicken, throw it in a pot, dump my tomato base on there and serve it over rice. Really yummy. So that's how we'll use our Cajun tomatoes mostly. But you could make like a spicy pasta, like a Cajun style pasta would be good. Now those tomatoes, oh geez, that light. Okay, sorry about that. Those tomatoes behind me will still cook for maybe another 45 minutes or so. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these started canning. I did label all the jars, Cajun, Mexican, and spaghetti sauce, because that's what it is. And I'm gonna put them in the water bath canner, and you have to can these for 40 minutes. So a little bit longer than your typical water bath canning recipe, but that's okay. So I think I'll wrap it up here. Maybe I'll end with an end clip of just total how much did I get. But hopefully that gives you guys a really awesome idea on how you can do big batch processing and get multiple different products. So right at the beginning, before I pureed up those tomatoes, I could have dumped off non-spiced or non-herbed and had stewed tomatoes. I've got spaghetti sauce now, my Mexican tomatoes, my Cajun tomato sauce. So I think that's how I'll continue to do my big batch processing. I really like it. It's gonna go make everything go further for me. And don't forget the tip about adding zucchini in there to just really stretch your harvest. What else was I gonna say? Oh, links to the actual recipes. So what you're gonna find in the description is the link to when I made spaghetti sauce last year. I'm following the exact same instructions. We love it. Todd is basically grew up in an Italian household, so he's a pretty darn good judge and he likes it. And I will also list the ball book where the herbed blended tomatoes come from. Oh, and a lesson learned. So shake your jars before you dump them. Especially with this method with putting your spices in at the bottom, they tend to stay there and settle. And the first couple times I used jars, all my spices were still at the bottom. So just give your jars a big shake before you dump them into your pot. Thanks guys for watching. I'll be canning for the rest of the evening. Talk to you guys later. Just pulled out the last batch. I ended up with 16 quarts and 9 pints of flavored tomato sauces. I got 2. I left just plain because I ran out of my spice mix. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Mexican style, 2, 4, 6, 8 Italian style, and 2, 4, 6, 8 Cajun. So I'm really happy with this. I love the way it worked out. It was super easy. And hopefully you guys just get some inspiration going there in your brain on how you can just simplify your canning process and make the most of your harvest and have a lot of different varieties on your shelves. So I've got quick and easy chili, wonderful Italian dishes ready, and some yummy Cajun dishes, shrimp Creole, some Italian or Cajun pasta. I'm just really excited. So these will sit here now on this counter for 24 hours. Tomorrow I will load up my pantry. And you guys, I still have so many tomatoes out there in the garden still growing. So I think I'd like to try tomato soup this year for the first time. I love tomato soup in the winter. Tomato soup and a grilled cheese, nothing's better. Nothing says comfort like that. So I think I'd like to try a tomato soup. If you have any comments or questions, leave them down below and I'll be sure to get back to you. Thanks guys for watching.